Aloha guys, welcome to another Photoshop tutorial. My name is Jayla Scanlon, and in the last tutorial we talked about layer styles and how we could alter some of the images and text within our project. Now we're going to move on to color correction, and so right now we can do some color correction with this project, but I want to actually bring in a new image to work with. The reason being is because there's a lot more colors involved in photos rather than images that we just bring in. So I'm going to file open and I'm going to look for one of these images that I want to do some color correction or color adjusting on. And so what I like to use is these landscape type photos, anything that has really bright elaborate colors that we can play around with. So now we have our image imported into Photoshop, and what we have is our background layer, and it's locked, and we have to unlock that to be able to add effects to it and start to use color correction. So to do that, we click, hold, and we can drag it down to this new layer button, and it duplicates our layer for us. As you can see, there's no lock pad on that, so we want to click on the background and delete it. Just click delete. Now we can start playing with our image. And for the color correction, you can go to filter, and there's um, a lot of different effects you can use. But for this point, we won't use the filter until the next tutorial. So we actually want to go to image, and now we have auto tone, auto contrast, and auto color. These ones automatically change your photo in random situations. It'll just randomly change the color settings, which is not what we want to do at this time. We want to actually manually change those. So we want to go to image and adjustments, and now we have all these different um, sections that we can use to change the color. We're only gonna cover a couple of these because we don't want to go too deep into this color correction scheme. So the first thing we're going to do is our brightness and contrast. And when we click that, we have our little table right here. And preview is checked, so we want to see what it does whenever we adjust it. We can make it brighter, we can make it darker. Depending on the kind of effect we want, we can change the contrast to make colors. It already starts to look pretty amazing right now. It's pretty it pops out. And so there's that way of doing it. You can hit OK, but I just want to cancel so I can show you the different types of um, adjustments we can do. So image adjustments, and we can go levels. What levels does is it plays around with the lighting and the darkness. So all the lights will be lighter and all the darks will be darker. And when we play around with these toggles, as you can see, we have black means dark, gray means midtone, and then white is our brightness. So if we click and we drag that in, as you can see, it makes all the brightness brighter, all the whites get whiter. And then if you start adjusting the dark, when you bring that in, all the dark becomes darker. And so you can see kind of a contrast there. And then you can move your midtone, and what that does is that kind of tries to balance the lights and darks depending on what you want as an effect. And so that's your levels. The next one we're going to go on to is curves. Now this one is kind of like a trial and error. You get to play around with this, and all it is it chooses the channels, blue, green, red, um, depending on if you've chosen that for your color settings. And then you have all these other presets. We won't cover that at this point. We want to make it default. But with this, you can click and drag, and you can actually see the types of changes that can come about. And you can make different points, and bring brightness up and bring darkness down. It's starting to go into a negative type look when you play around with them. So you can just adjust them, and then you can change different separate colors, like all the greens. You can take down the green and it looks more red, or you can bring the green up depending on what you want. So that's the curves. Um, and then you have your exposure. We don't want to cover that one at this point in time, but that's pretty much what we want to cover at this point. I guess we can go over hue and saturation. Um, black and white you can use on your hue and saturation. If you click on that, you can click on colorize, and that makes the whole image a certain color. And then if you play around with the lightness, you can make it bright or dark. We want to just keep it as is. And then if you bring the saturation down, that's what brings you to your black and white look. And then you can even change the darkness to make it darker. The hue is the color. So if you actually bring the saturation back up, as you move through, the colors will change because you've already hit colorize. If you uncheck it, then it doesn't affect it as much. You can still use the colors, but you can still see all the other colors that are present. So that's pretty much it for color correction. And so just play around with that and see what you can come up with. Remember, it's your eye that sees it, and it's what you want to portray. So whatever looks good to you, that's what you should do. And so that's it from me. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Hope you learned a lot. Feel free to ask me any questions if you need to, and we look forward to teaching you more in the next tutorial.